freedom,
family,
world unity.
All these things and more will be discussed on this podcast.
Real stories, real people, real debates. On this podcast, we like to express our freedoms and talk about anything and everything goes.
Like freedom, family is important to us, and anybody that is listening, watching, or coming on the show as a guest star are all considered part of the greatest family to ever bless the solar system, the human race. No matter who you are, where you come from, you will always have a voice here on this podcast.
We like to flex our First Amendment, where all speeches and opinions are accepted for the right of freedom of speech. We have a saying we like to live by. Live life with eyes wide open. Being open-minded leads to true understanding of the world as it really is. Please, come, join us, and enjoy this experience as we embark on this journey of truth as we dismantle the subjective truth. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm your co-host, Victoria.
And you're experiencing High Consciousness.
Disclaimer. Any and all information on topics presented are to the best of all who is present in each episode's knowledge. The goal of this podcast is to bring people together and set the example we all wish to see in our everyday lives. Whether it's home life, education, politics, history, business, etc. Any and all subjects can and will be talked and peacefully debated about on this podcast. On debate episodes, there will be a set rules of debate that hosts and guests alike must follow. We ask that you, the audience, like we ask of our guests, in the comments to please try to keep the language as clean as possible. We are a podcast for entertainment as well as educational purposes. Here we are all equal no matter what race, age, or gender. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Hi, y'all.
I'm Nicholas.
And I'm your co-host, Victoria. And we are High Consciousness. Welcome back to a new episode of High Consciousness. If you're new here, please hit the like and subscribe if you sit to the video and you like the video. And remember to follow us on Rumble, Twitter, and Facebook. Or X, as it's now called, because they've now officially changed the domain. And today's episode is on Chapter 11.
Secret societies, I'm going to guess.
The objective of the secret society.
And a little recap on the last chapter, we talked about utopias, and I believe his name was Christopher Moore, or Sir Thomas More.
Sir Thomas More.
Sir Thomas More. And we also learned Campanella and
Boccolini.
Boccolini. And these three characters in history wrote the first writings of a utopia. And a lot of it was satire and pointed judgment at the king and for their policies, and that at the end of it all, what a utopia is basically a reform of government in a irradical way or irregular way.
Or it seems practical when it's on paper, but it turns out very impractical in practice in real life.
Mm-hmm. So, a lot of interesting stuff that we're about to be getting into in this next chapter.
Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, let's get right into it.
And today, Victoria's reading for us today, since we're on odd numbers.
Odd numbers, I get to read. The objective of the secret society. Our reference to a secret society in Bacon's New Atlantis is scarcely less than a proclamation of the Society of Unknown Philosophers, but has gone unnoticed for 300 years. This fable is of the land of Ben Salem, meaning the son of peace, which with its merchandise, wow, that was hard to say, the light of faith maintained a trade with Atlantis, which was declared to be the same as America. Everything indicates that it was Sir Francis Bacon's dream that the enlarging of the bounds of human empire should be instituted on our own continent, an area particularly set aside by nature for the perfection of philosophy and the sciences. Ooh. So Sir Francis Bacon's New Atlantis was legitimately America? Is that what I'm getting from this here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So continuing on. The readings.
Wow.
The writings.
Mm-hmm.
The writings of Sir Francis Bacon are generally grouped under 3 headings: professional, literary, and philosophical. Each of these groups contains a variety of important works, but Lord Bacon's mind, taste, and conviction are best revealed through his philosophical writings. In this group are works that are strictly philosophical, others that verge toward the sciences, and still others which sum up convictions relating to all branches of knowledge. Possibly the most remarkable of Lord Bacon's ethical contributions is the fragment called The New Atlantis, which forms a kind of gloss upon his principal philosophical production, the Insaturatio Magna. To Bacon, the greater part of learning was the application of knowledge to the necessities of the human state. It was only natural that he should envision the results should his inductive system be given universal application. So, what does that mean? Let me reread that one more time.
Yeah, reread that.
To Bacon, the greater part of learning was the application of knowledge to the necessities of the human state. It was only natural that he should envision the results should his inductive system be given universal application.
So basically, he was more focused on...
Well, what does it mean to be inductive? I don't really know what that word means.
Hold up before you do any... Sorry, y'all. Let's see what...
What does... No. What is an inductive system? Reasoning that involves using specific observations such as observe patterns to make a general conclusion. Okay. So then I guess what that's literally saying is that America was like it's literally the biggest social experiment in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. The New Atlantis was first published in 1627 as a kind of appendix to the Scylla Silvarium, a natural history in 10 centuries. On the title page is a curious design. It shows the figure of an ancient creature representing time drawing a female figure from a dark cavern. That's strange. An ancient creature representing time? I mean, if we had to... let's play with that for a minute. If we had to imagine what an ancient creature that would represent time would look like, what do you think it would look like?
I mean,
I'm just imagining like this cloaked, hooded figure that has like, the creepy, really long fingers and nails, and it's like, come with me.
I have eons of time to show you. A creature of time.
I wonder what that would be.
Could be anything, honestly.
And it's luring a female it's drawing a female out of a dark cavern? Like, I wonder what that means. Oh, well, the meaning is obvious. Through time, the hidden truth shall be revealed. This figure is one of the most famous of the seals or symbols of the Order of the Quest. Bringing back to the Order of the Quest there.
Mm-hmm.
Contained within it is the whole promise of the resurrection of man and the restitution. Okay, I'm going to reread that sentence one more time. Contained within the whole promise of the resurrection of man and the restitution of divine theology. The New Atlantis was not published during the recorded lifetime of Lord Bacon. It was issued the year following his death by his lordship's chaplain, William Raleigh. And that's Rawley, not like Walter Raleigh, who was the founder of the North Carolina capital city Raleigh, which is kind of really, really cool because he was also part of the whole Order of the Quest, as I think one of the previous chapters suggested. So William Raleigh, this man was Bacon's close friend and familiar over a period of many years, and most of Bacon's papers were entrusted to Raleigh's care. And in his administration for Bacon's personal character and philosophical powers, he left the expressed wish to be buried at his master's feet, and his wish was fulfilled. Raleigh writes his introduction to Bacon's New Atlantis. This fable my lord devised to the end that he might exhibit therein a model for description of a college instituted for the interpreting of nature and the producing of great and marvelous works for the benefit of men, under the name of Solomon's House, or the College of the 6 Days' Work. Ooh, Solomon, like King Solomon?
Probably.
The College of the 6 Days' Work is, of course, a thinly veiled reference to the perfection of nature through art. The 6 days are the days of creation which by the natural world was brought into existence, according to the account given in Genesis. As God created the universe in 6 symbolic days, so man by art, that is, philosophy, must create the condition of his own perfection by means of 6 philosophical steps. The college is the secret school, the wise man's house, that's hard to say. The wise man's house, wherein are taught all arts and sciences. Tripped over that so hard.
Yes, you did.
Like, goodness, that's hard to say all at once. So, it taught all these arts and sciences, and not according to a materialistic interpretation, but according to a divine understanding of causes. Raleigh stated that it had been his lordship's intention to complete the fable of the New Atlantis with a second part, to contain the laws of the ideal state, or commonwealth of the wise, since it was Bacon's custom to prepare numerous drafts of his writings in the process of perfecting them. It is probable that the second part existed, at least in outline, but Raleigh would not have felt it proper to publish the part which his lordship had not perfected in literary form. It is well known among the secret societies of Europe that the second part of the New Atlantis exists. It includes a description of a great room in Solomon's house wherein are displayed the crests and the coats of arms of the governors of the philosophic empire. It may be for this reason that the writings were suppressed, for these crests and arms belong to real persons who might have been subjected to persecution, as Sir Walter Raleigh was. Oh my goodness, as we were just talking about him. I mean, granted, it was just to, make it clear that this is Rawley, not the other, when I was speaking about Mr. Raleigh, who was, the underling of Mr. Bacon there. And wow. Then we actually bring up Sir Walter Raleigh himself. That's cool. That's freaking cool. How we were just talking about that. That's awesome. So I'm gonna reread that one more time. It may be for this reason that the writings were suppressed, for these crests and arms belong to real persons who might have been subjected to persecution, as Sir Walter Raleigh was, and if their association with the secret order had been openly announced. The fable of the New Atlantis begins with a ship sailing from Peru for China and Japan, driven from its course by contrary winds. Those abroad after many months faced death by starvation and disease. They prayed to God for help, and their prayer was answered. The ship came at last to the fair harbor of a great city in an unknown land. Here the mariners were hospitably received, and after certain formalities were permitted to land. and the wonders of the city were revealed to them. This title page of Bacon's masterpiece, Novum Organum, features a small ship sailing between two columns. These columns are the Pillars of Hercules, the Strait of Gibraltar, which mark the western boundary of the sea. The ship is science, sailing forth from the limits and boundaries of the old world into the unknown sea of universal learning. Is it not the same ship that finally came to haven in the wise man's city? The New Atlantis describes the magnificence of the College of the 6 days' work. Here the wise dwelt together in a gentle commonwealth of learning. Of the wise men makes the following statement in a prayer: Lord of heaven and earth, thou hast vouchsafied of thy grace to those of our order, to know thy works of creation and the secrets of them, and to discern as far as apparenteth to the generations of men, when divine miracles, works of nature, works of art, and impostures and illusions of all sorts. Okay.
That's a lot.
So that prayer statement was basically saying, God had vouched for the, even God could vouch for the grace of their order, meaning that their order was within godly righteousness. And then to thy works of creation and the secrets of them. So with secret societies, and when you study the Emerald Tablets, you start to learn that, there's been all these secret mystery schools, and that there are all these secrets of the universe and mysteries of the universe. And all these things lie within creation, meaning, if you go searching hard enough, or here lately I realized there's sacred geometry even when you just pick up a flower and you really look at the inside of it, and pay attention to the way that the leaves and the petals are all made in this geometric type kind of thing. And so that's kind of what they mean about the secrets of creation, because things that we look at every day, like a typical leaf, you pick it up, you think, oh, it's pretty, and you don't think anything more of it.
Right.
Philosophers would pick up the leaf and then compare it to the human body, for instance. If you took the back of your hand, that would be the back of the leaf that when they turn over, that's the lighter side, that they get the rain all on, and then when you flip it over, it's all smooth like the palm of your hand. And so that's the kind of things that they would compare nature to human like that, hence the secrets of the universe within creation. That's what that means. And to discern as far as it's apparent to the generations of men between divine miracles, works of nature, art, and impostures and illusions. So that means to discern godly works of nature, godly works of art, from the works of art, nature, and science that are imposters to the secrets of creation, which is the key to understanding God, or at least God's creation of the earth, and the reason why he did it or something.
Right.
That's what that means. It's to be able to discern, as long as it's apparent, made clear to the generations of man, to be able to discern between what's real and what's fake. Pretty much, that's what that whole thing means. Just to break it down for you, because Old English, not many people these days understand, and I just happen to have a really good knack of understanding Old English and being able to interpret it. So
I have an okay understanding for Old English, and not that great.
In English class, they did try to, we read, the one play you don't say the name of, and Hamlet, and a few other plays that William Shakespeare wrote, and we read them. Oh, Romeo and Juliet, and we read them in the Old English versions rather than the modern English versions.
Yeah, I was in Salem. We was in Salem book too. Always the Salem. That's the Salem books.
Oh
with
yeah,
John
yeah,
Proctor.
yeah. The Salem Witch Trials play.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what that one's called. The Scarlet Letter? Yes, I believe so. I think that's the Scarlet Letter. So let's get back to the reading here. It is difficult to understand how this reference to a secret order has passed unnoticed for so long, for it is scarcely less than a proclamation of the Society of Unknown Philosophers. The name of the land in which stood the wise men's city was Ben Salem. This means the son of peace. Mm-hmm. Ben Salem maintained a trade with all parts of the world, but not for gold, silver, jewels, silks, spices, nor any other material commodity. Its merchandise was the light of truth. Mm-hmm. Among the nations traded with was Atlantis, and which was declared to be the same as America. The College of Solomon's House had ambassadors, agents, representatives among all the nations of the world, so that all discoveries in the arts and sciences might be known to it. In great libraries, all useful records were stored up for the service of future ages. The book closes with a long lecture delivered by one of the fathers of Solomon's House. This great dignitary summarized the work of the Brotherhood in the following magnificent statement, one which might well be inscribed over the doors of learning and in the hearts of all scholars, scientists, and philosophers. And this is the quote. The end of our foundation is the knowledge of causes and secret motions of things, and the enlarging of the bounds of human empire to the effecting of all things possible. Okay.
What can you take away from that, though?
To the end of our foundation is the knowledge of causes and secret motions of things. So basically saying that the secret society will come completely to an end should they ever be, discovered. That's, in a nutshell, what this is saying. When they say our foundation, the end of our foundation is the knowledge of causes, which secret societies, according to, a lot of different kinds of resources and our very basic understanding of it is, secret societies are part of those people that, that puppeteer behind the scenes, that never get really recognized and we don't really know they're there. It's like, we know they're there, but we don't know they're there. They move on among us, but we don't see them or we don't realize it.
Right.
And so that's how, they've kept their whole foundation a secret and, their whole foundation has lasted this long. And should knowledge of causes and the knowledge of secret motions, once all that comes out, then their whole foundation is gone. Which is why it says the end of our foundation is the knowledge of causes and the knowledge of secret motions and things. The father of the wise men then described the laboratories, observatories, mines, and hospitals, and the various engines and inventions by which the elements could be controlled and the secrets of nature discovered. There were gardens for the study of plants, and the parks filled with birds and animals so that men could investigate their habits. Even reptiles, insects, and fish were considered, and their uses classified. Medicines of all kinds were distilled and compounded, and mechanical arts were perfected according to the laws of nature. There were houses where the senses of men were studied with the aid of perfumes, flavors, sounds, music, and extraordinary acoustical devices. I wonder if that last one, the extraordinary acoustical devices, refers to that weird thing. I forget what it's called. But it you wave something around this rod, you wave this other rod around this other rod, and it creates this ethereal music type kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's what that probably means. There are houses where only deceits were on record, so that the methods by which men can be deceived could be made known and studied. Ooh.
Okay.
So they even created a whole section of houses where
they use this kind of technology?
So there were houses that studied the aids of perfumes and stuff, and then there was another one that studied just crimes of men or the deception of men, purposely deceiving them just to study the deception.
Right.
That's kind of nuts to me. like that, I don't
Intention
know.
and
I'm very
deception.
uncomfortable with that.
It's just a part of it, how it works. You gotta realize how they indulge themselves in, look at
America.
acoustical devices. So they could have possibly might have broken the code of using some sort of frequencies to heighten up their knowledge, their consciousness.
Maybe so.
Acoustical devices.
Acoustical devices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that means
The
music,
extraordinary
sound.
acoustical devices.
So that means like sound and music.
Mm-hmm. The philosophical city, all men were employed according to their tastes and ability, and each contributed in his own way to the sum of useful knowledge. There were museums when rare and excellent inventions were preserved, and galleries containing the statues of great men who had contributed to the improvement of the human race. Among the statues was one to Christopher Columbus. Among the statues was one to Christopher Columbus, another to the man who had invented bread. Yeah, did y'all know that bread was invented, I think Betty White was born 1922, and then sliced bread was invented a couple years after Betty White was born. So sliced bread is the best thing since Betty White. The narration ends abruptly with the word of the editor that the rest were not perfected. Missing is that part which was to describe the laws of a philosophical commonwealth. It is safe to assume that these laws, like the whole pattern of the story, were the same set forth by Plato for the government of the wise. Everything indicates that it was Bacon's dream that the College of the 6 Days should be erected in America, and an area particularly set aside by nature for the perfection of philosophy and the sciences. Part of this dream has been realized. In this land are the greatest laboratories, observatories, and institutions of research that the world has ever known. We are exploring the mysteries of the atoms and the electrons and have brought the heavenly fire, electricity, to be the servant of our purposes. All that remains is to crown science with philosophy. As we perfect the inner part of learning, the philosophic empire will arise in human society. And that's the end of chapter 11. Chapter 12, the title is Western Culture 1,000 Years Before Columbus. Ooh. Can't wait to get into that one.
Yep, so a lot of information in that one.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots of information.
I don't think we stopped. I really don't think we stopped on this episode because I think it must be our shortest one.
Yeah, it's about to be our shortest episode.
Because that was a lot to process and really really a whole lot to take away from. What do you have to say to that, babe?
I mean, my biggest... So, I guess I'm really curious since I brought up Mr. Walter Raleigh before, and then, he ended up popping up again in the book, and it turns out that, he was persecuted for his ideas. So, that really, makes me want to dig more into Mr. Sir Walter Raleigh and his part in everything, especially with the whole founding of our state's freaking capital, dude. Bruh. I want to know more.
Okay, well,
I think that'd be really, really exciting to learn more about.
That sounds like another episode for another time.
Yeah, another episode for another time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've made it this far, we thank you so much for sticking around and enjoying the video. Hit that like and subscribe button if you did enjoy the video. And please give us a follow on X. Give us a follow on Facebook. We have 2 different Facebooks. We have one where you can friend the page itself. We have a friends account. And then we have the page... We have the page account as well. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking a little too fast.
Yes, you
my
are.
mouth trying to move faster than my brain.
I was reading. That's what it does. Mm-hmm.
And please give us a watch on Rumble as well, or if you're watching us on Rumble, give us also a watch and a subscribe or a follow on YouTube.
And comments. Comments. We would love to hear from y'all.
We really, really do want to hear from y'all. I am literally always checking the comment section, just trying to see if anybody leaves a comment, like a question, so that way we can bring it up on the next episode. And we will put your question up on the screen. We have kind of figured out how to do that now. So we'll pop your little question up there on the screen so that you can get your little shout out and your little 5 minutes of fame with your question and your answer. Which will be really exciting for us because we absolutely want to hear from the people. Please.
Q&A.
Give us all the questions. All the questions. I want them all. But thank you guys, and have a great day.